Welcome to Vegan Ultra. I'm your inspiration guide, Adam Gallus, on this epic quest for hope, health, and happiness as I lose 150 pounds in 12 months on a whole food vegan diet while walking 2 marathons a week, every week for a year, 2,700 miles, to prove to myself, my family, and anyone watching on YouTube we can all become the ultra versions of ourselves, the Captain America versions of ourselves, if we just give it a try and are powered by plants. Today is part 2 of why you should go and stay vegan. Specifically today, we're talking about environmental reasons, so let me show you the science-based magic. Here we can see the global carbon clock. This is from a university in Germany that's looking at in order to keep climate change down to 1.5 degrees Celsius, we would have to essentially stop emitting all carbon within less than 6 years. Obviously, we're not going to achieve that. 2 degrees, though, we still have about 24 years. But this is, as you can see, a challenge, especially given that the UN's World Food Organization estimates 14% of all emissions come from animal agriculture, while World Watch estimates it's 51% from direct and indirect sources. And of course, these estimates can vary widely, but some estimates, including from Dr. Silas Rao, go as high as 87%. So it is the single biggest source of emissions, and arguably, if we don't solve this, that nothing else we do will matter. Now, here we have some estimate. Let's take a look at why this matters a lot and where veganism can solve things. First, let's understand some important concept of carbon sinks. Carbon just doesn't go into the atmosphere, it also gets taken out. In fact, as you can see here, 2,500 billion gigatons stored in the soil, 800 gigatons in the atmosphere, plants storing 560. But here is what matters. So the global economy is emitting 35 gigatons per year, and 45% of this is building up in the environment. 55% is being sequestered. It gets sucked up by the ocean, sucked up by the soil, sucked up by the plants. So this means that in order to keep the temperature from rising higher than it is already risen, we need carbon emissions essentially to be neutral. Not specifically that we're not emitting any on a neutral basis, on a net basis. If we can simply cut emissions by 45%, the planet will take care of the rest. Well, here's the good news from Oxford University. If the entire world went vegan, 73% is how much we could cut emissions. And even if we simply reduced consumption of meat by 50%, that would achieve about 73% of the benefit, or cutting emissions by about 50%. Remember, 45% and the climate crisis is over. So we don't even need the world to go vegan. If we just all cut how much meat we're eating today by 50%, there's the climate crisis solved, and we could do this overnight. Now, the good benefit, of course, of the Blue Zone vegan diet is that it would buy us time, because if you cut emissions by 73%, that gives you time for electric cars and switching to a green energy ecosystem for the global economy. So that, of course, is going to take several decades because it's very large and complex. We spent 100 years building out the current energy system. So Blue Zone veganism would basically solve that. Now, you might be wondering, okay, how is this possible? Simple. Take a look at 1 kilogram of beef emits 100 kilos of CO2. For lamb, it's much less, but still very high. You have to go all the way down to rice at 4.5. So basically 20 times less than beef. And take a look at things like corn, the humble pea, which we'll be talking about when we get to water usage, just 1 kilo, and nuts, just 0.43. So here is to help you visualize what that means. Let's take a look at the nutrition for 1 kilogram of beef. 2,500 calories, 253 grams of protein, which Americans are obsessed with, even though they shouldn't be. But okay, well, for that same amount of emissions. How about rice? Well, you could have 31,000 calories of rice with 983, nearly 4 times the protein. And of course, remember the humble pea, which is one of nature's most perfect foods, for the same amount of emissions, 47,000 calories, which is 19 times more calories than beef, and 3,144 grams of protein. That's 15 times more protein for the same amount of emissions. So there you have it. Yet another reason to go vegan and stay vegan, simply for the climate, which is important and in crisis. And we literally could solve the problem if we all just cut our meat intake in half. And that would essentially stop temperatures from rising. And if we all went vegan, then actually temperatures would be declining because the carbon in the atmosphere would be falling every year. So that, of course, is the ideal solution. But hopefully this can inspire you to at least try Blue Zone veganism. And if you are vegan, to stay that way, because this truly is science-based magic and nutrition-fueled sorcery, the solution for 70 to 80% of the world's problems. And it's helped me to become the happiest version of myself, and I know it can do the same for almost anyone if you just give it a chance. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to this channel, like this video to help other people find it on YouTube, and consider friending me on Facebook, where I have a lot more information about the benefits of a Blue Zone vegan diet, including my favorite recipes that helped me lose 85 pounds in 4 months.